Jorgit Terposki makes a modest living growing vegetables and fruit in the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. He's attuned to the weather, which he says has been unpredictable in recent years.
The sowing and the harvesting seasons haven't changed, per se. What has changed is that there are sudden high temperatures, or low temperatures, or sudden rains. All of this has a negative impact on the plants.
Jorgit is one of millions of rural farmers in Europe and Central Asia whose crops and incomes are affected by recent changes in climate patterns. Rising temperatures and changing rain and snowfall have brought more droughts and more floods to developing countries in Europe. Temperatures in Central Asia have increased above the worldwide warming average in the last 20 years. It's harming crop yields and livestock production.
The heat is not good for the herd. We cannot produce good cheese in hot weather, and this is why we move.
As a result, this shepherd is forced to move his flock to higher land. His sheep are cooler, but they can also erode soil in a country where it's estimated nearly half the land is already severely or very severely eroded. Shifts in climate can add to the difficulty of farming in Europe and Central Asia. Farmers are forced to work with old equipment. They rely on poor irrigation and limited access to information. Credit is hard to come by. Farming is the mainstay of many rural livelihoods. The potential harm that changes in climate could do to agriculture is vast. That's why the World Bank has teamed up with partners in Albania, Macedonia, Moldova, and Uzbekistan so that policymakers, farmers, and other agricultural stakeholders can start to tackle the challenges of a changing climate.
Changing climate is going to have serious impact on agriculture, and that in turn will affect some of the most vulnerable people in society, which are the farmers and the rural poor. And this could also have an impact eventually on food security.
The program to reduce the vulnerability to climate change of agricultural systems is designed to help raise awareness of potential impacts of climate change on agriculture and to offer concrete adaptation recommendations which can help farmers in the short, medium, and long term. Over the last 3 years, the World Bank has worked with ministries of agriculture, environment, and other policymakers in all 4 countries. Together, they have designed programs, policies, and investments to help farmers better cope with changing climates, both nationally and at the farming zone level. Igor Stravinaski is an apple farmer in Macedonia trying to cope with a shifting growing season.
When
looking at how to adapt, one should look at a particular region and then look at how currents impact that region.
Confronting the problem and trying to understand its implications was one of the first steps.
I would say that the employees at the Ministry of the Environment and the Minister himself, as well as the employees in the Ministry of Agriculture and I as the Minister, have an increased and more concrete sensibility of development of policies that reduce the negative effects of climate change.
Increasing awareness of farmers was a pillar of the project. Here, Uzbek farmers have gathered to give their feedback on what's happening to their crops and to hear what they can do to stop yields from dropping.
We liked the consultation and we learned a lot. We are impressed with this meeting and have been given a lot of information about possible ways to adapt to climate change.
Farmers' needs have been incorporated into the recommendations that are being developed.
During the last 3 to 4 years, we have been affected significantly by droughts. Droughts, hail, and low winter temperatures, which freeze the vineyards. To avoid drought, we thought of making a basin, trying to irrigate the whole plantation through drip irrigation. We have made a basin, a small one, 20 by 20, but it does not help us too much. In order to irrigate such a big area, we need a much bigger basin, and we do not have the necessary finances to make such a basin.
să facem acest bazin.
Farmers have been consulted, policymakers brought together. Draft impact assessment and adaptation options have been drawn up. The World Bank is now working with partners from the Ministries of Agriculture and Environment to develop individual responses to climate change and agriculture in each of the 4 countries. The programme's recommendations and results may allow rural farmers in the region to begin adapting to tomorrow's climate scenarios while improving their livelihoods today.